When you're president, cheap gas is good politics. President Trump understands this. It's why he promised to make gas prices even lower during the campaign and why he celebrated earlier this summer when gas prices hit their lowest level in more than a decade over the July 4th holiday weekend. Now Trump faces a dilemma. He wants to be a tough world leader who cracks down on foes like Venezuela, but that could cause gas prices to jump in the United States. Trump is no fan of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. He's called Maduro a bad leader and dictator. Trump is one of many world leaders who vowed strong and swift economic actions if Maduro went ahead with a sham election over the weekend to grab more power by replacing the Venezuelan legislature with a body more loyal to him. Maduro held a vote anyway, calling Trump a bandit. The White House is feeling the pressure to act. The most obvious way to hurt Maduro is to hit the heart of Venezuela's economy, oil. But American sanctions on Venezuelan oil could backfire. Venezuela supplies 10% of America's oil, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, making it the third largest U.S. supplier behind Canada and Saudi Arabia. Going hard after Venezuela would probably cause gas prices to rise in the United States, at least in the short run. Philip Verliger, an energy economist who runs consulting firm PK Verliger LLC, predicts oil prices could spike $10 if Trump does a full ban on Venezuelan oil. Prices would go up like a rocket, says Verliger. Gas prices in the U.S. would go up 25 or 30 cents a gallon within a couple of weeks. American oil refiners would have to find new suppliers. The average price of regular gas in the United States is now $2.31 a gallon, according to the EIA. That's about the same as when Trump took office. Any action now could send oil prices higher during the popular holiday travel month of August. Somebody in White House probably recognizes the last thing this president needs right now is to pee off people who live paycheck to paycheck and voted him in, says Tom Closa, global head of energy analysis at Oil Price Information Service. Still, Republican Sens. John McCain of Arizona and Marco Rubio of Florida have been urging Trump to hit Venezuela hard after Sunday's vote. They want Trump to do a lot more than the sanctions the United States imposed last week on 13 prominent Venezuelans with ties to Maduro's government. McCain tweeted Sunday, "We stand with the people of Venezuela today, who deserve democracy, not sham elections and Maduro's repression. There's a humanitarian crisis in Venezuela. People are literally starving. The country has one of the world's worst economies, and there's hardly any food in supermarkets. Things are so bad people are rationing toothpaste and toilet paper." More and more Venezuelans are protesting against Maduro, even though he has threatened them with a decade in jail, if not more. Over 120 protesters have died in the past 4 months. Another 10 were reported dead as clashes erupted Sunday during the vote. The most dramatic action Trump could take is to halt all imports of Venezuelan oil to the United States. However, the president understands that's bad politics at home to rise gas prices. Most of the major oil companies have been lobbying the White House not to go that far. Trump will not start with a blanket sanction on Venezuelan oil, says Francisco Monaldi, a Latin American energy expert at Rice University's Baker Institute for Public Policy. Oil refiners have lobbied heavily in Washington not to get the full ban on Venezuelan oil imports. If Trump did go for the full-blown ban on Venezuelan oil, he could mitigate the impacts by releasing oil from America's reserves. The U.S. has a large Strategic Petroleum Reserve (SPR) to handle situations just like this, notes Verliger. Option B is to restrict the flow of light crude oil from the United States to Venezuela. Venezuela's oil companies mix U.S. light with Venezuela's heavy crude and then export it globally. The United States sends about 100,000 barrels a day to Venezuela, according to the EIA. Trump could disrupt Venezuela's state-run oil company by cutting off some of its light crude supply. Oil experts predict that U.S. companies could adapt quickly and send their light crude elsewhere instead of Venezuela. This move is unlikely to have much, if any, impact on gas prices. It's a lot less severe than cutting off the 750,000 barrels of Venezuelan oil coming to the United States daily. The final option is to try to target more of Maduro's inner circle. The Trump administration could place additional sanctions on government officials and executives at Venezuela's state-run oil company, forbidding them from traveling to the United States or using American bank accounts. It would be similar to what the United States did to several prominent Russians in 2014 in retaliation for Russia's invading Ukraine.